All right, if you're watching this video, you are ready to start your relief tile. You'll notice I have my sketch in front of me. I have my final sketch right here in color. This is the size that the tile is going to be. So having your drawing done in that size will be very helpful to you. I'm gonna keep this to the side because I'll reference it. The first thing you're gonna have to do is you need to roll a slab. And we have done this once before when we made our clay tiles that we used for all the surface design techniques. You are going to need a canvas so it doesn't stick to the table, a rolling pin, and then you need two sticks that are the same. So right here I have two rulers that are the same height, or you might have just like sticks of wood. These both have a number 3, so they're the same thickness. You could use a wood dowel, as long as it's the same on both sides, it's gonna help you to roll an even slab. So I'm gonna set these apart. I have my hunk of clay that I've wedged. Before I start rolling the slab, I need my slab to be this shape and this size. And if I look at my hunk of clay, it's round right now, it's a sphere. So I'm kind of just gonna squish it out with my hands to make it more of like a square rectangle shape. And I'm gonna start with that. Once I have that, remember I'm gonna use my rolling pin, use my muscle, and I'm gonna roll towards me, I'm gonna roll away from me. It's okay to pick up your slab and flip it over and turn it as long as you have your boards on each side. So I'm gonna roll this way. I'm gonna check with my tracer. You'll see I'm almost there, there's just some corners. So I'm gonna go back the vertical way here. And I haven't hit my my boards yet, so I know I need to keep rolling. I just keep adjusting as I'm going. But now I can feel that my rolling pin is touching these boards, which is good. That means I have an even slab. Now if I put this on here, I think I could cut out the shape, right? But let's say you were still having trouble and it still wasn't fitting, but you have extra clay on the top or the bottom. What I would do, your clay is still pretty fresh, so you could just take your needle tool, cut off what you need to, stick it onto your piece where you need to like make more clay. Because sometimes you just need your slab to grow just a little bit. And then once I do that, I'm gonna roll it. You can roll it again. Just make it big enough. But again, make sure I wasn't hitting my sides here. Make sure your rolling pin is touching the sides. Once you have a slab big enough, I'm going to start with this tracer. It should say relief tile cutout on it. And I like to use my needle tool. You could also use your fettling knife if you have that. But I am just going to hold my tracer. And I'm just going to use my needle tool to slice what I need. Being very careful, paying attention. This extra clay that I'm cutting off, I will use for the rest of my relief. All right. That is the size that I want. At this moment in time, I am going to go grab a board. I don't want to work on this canvas anymore. It's starting to wrinkle. I'm gonna go clean these, clean the rolling pin because I don't need it anymore. And I'm gonna grab a damp paper towel to put on this clay so that it can stay moist and it won't dry out, because this is what I'm gonna use to build up my relief tile. So I will be back in one moment. All right, I'm back. I have my clay under here, just keeping it from drying out. My relief tiles on my board, which is good. I want it on here because I want it to dry flat. I don't want the ends to be curled up. I have my slip container. I have a little container of clean water. One thing I'm gonna do, I use my little sponge. I'm gonna get it damp. And I'm just gonna go around the edges here and just kind of smooth them. One thing about clay is the craftsmanship, so paying attention to that. Now, if I look at my sketch, you might notice that the sketch actually looks like a Polaroid picture. It's kind of like an Instax camera, but it existed before then. And so my image is surrounded by this white border, and I want to leave that border. I'm gonna let you choose. You could choose to create it in like a Polaroid, which means you will do this next step, or you can make your design the entire rectangle. So you'd have to just stretch, you're creating your image out to the borders. But I want mine to look like a Polaroid photo. So if you want yours to look like a Polaroid, the next step is we have an inside square tracer. So adjusting my camera here. And I want it to be closer to the top, but leave a little bit of a border, a little bit border on both sides, and then on the bottom, you'll notice it's a thicker border. That's the bottom of the Polaroid. Sometimes people would write things on that part of the picture. But I want this to be here, and I'm not gonna cut it out, but I'm gonna use my needle tool to just trace the square. So I'm just lightly pressing in right now. Your slab is very much in like the wet plastic moldable stage of clay. And so we're gonna do this before it gets leather hard. But that's where all of my parts of my landscape are gonna go. Now, I wanna carve out part of this relief tile, but my clay is too wet to do that. So I need to let my clay kind of dry, become leather hard. And while it's drying out in the air, I'm gonna work on molding the parts of my landscape. So when you look at your landscape, you wanna work from the background to the middle to the foreground at the very end. So you wanna start with whatever is the farthest away in your photo. And so for me, that's the sky and the clouds. That's some of the carving I'm gonna do. And then it's this bunch of trees and bushes along the lake. So I'm gonna work on kind of building these for now. I'm not gonna attach them, but I'm gonna start to build them. And I might work on building like these cattails, some of these blades of grass. So that's just while I'm waiting for this to dry and to become leather hard. instead of just sitting around and waiting, you could be building. And so you're just using your fingers a lot, you're referencing your photo quite a bit. And you're just building the shapes that you see. I wouldn't worry so much about like the textures yet. Because I know with these trees, I'm gonna add a bunch of textures. But that'll come at the end. So right now, I'm just trying to get like the sizing, roughly the shape. Again, clay is gonna pinch and mold however you want it to. So this might be kind of where I start for those trees. So I'm gonna set those aside. If I'm making the cattails, remember this is a relief tile, so it's not gonna come off very far on your clay. So when I look at like the shape of a cattail, it's an oval shape. Okay, so I'm gonna start there. It's like a skinny oval. So here I have like my oval shape. Now it's round all the way around. I could put that on there if I wanted it to, or maybe I'll keep it that way. Yeah, I think I will. So I'm gonna build a few more of those. I'm gonna time lapse this so you can see, like, we'll come back at the end here